Well, I made this little rotating tail stand for the airframe, rotisserie, whatever you want to call it. First thing I did was I put this piece on flat and had it sticking out there and bolted into the rear spring attach point, the rear landing gear spring attach point. But because the airframe is not straight, it bound up when you tried to turn it. So I redesigned it a little bit. I took a piece of 1-inch box tubing and I cut off the pad that I had, cut it in half, and then I put this box tubing in here with a bolt going through one side and then turned it 90 degrees and a bolt going through the other side. And that works as a universal joint, kind of, and that works real well. The problem that I had with this is that when you start pulling the airplane forward, sometimes this rear end doesn't go with it, and it'll just, because of this universal joint here, it'll kick out and the airplane will fall down once it gets over centered. This was made out of an angle. Well, the angle is fine because it's stronger than flat plate, so that was good, but it had this ear that stuck up right here on this portion of it, and that would contact the tail plane there, the tail post, and it bent up this bushing, this lower bushing on the tail post, this rudder bushing. I decided I went ahead and took this apart and took it down to the shop, and I cut off this one leg of this angle here, this one ear, and polished it up. So I went ahead and took the whole thing down and sandblasted it and powder coated it. But I'd made this so that I had plenty of room for the to clear the vertical fin when I put it on, so I could rotate it to 180 degrees, completely invert it with the vertical fin on, and it would clear the floor. It was working okay with like that. But I got to wondering whether I had enough clearance for the rudder or not. Now, the rudder sticks down just a little bit. I'm not sure how far it stuck down, but to make sure I had enough clearance for the rudder, I went ahead and cut off another piece of 1-inch box tubing and welded it onto these ears. So we'll see how this works. It should work a little bit better. There's no ear there now. I've got a whole bunch of this foam packing material, and I'm going to go ahead and take this stuff and wrap that with this. So that'll help two things. One, if it does fall down again, it'll give it something cushioned, soft to hit against. But if I wrap this tight around there, that should encapsulate that U-joint and stiffen it up to the point where maybe it won't tip over like it was doing. But I've also done a couple other things. See, I've got had those bungee cords there for quite a while. I'll take those bungee cords and run them up, hook them to handles on the airframe or a couple of the cross pieces on the airframe to help hold that up. But I just made this cable and I attached it to the front rotator and brought it back here to the back one, and I just, like I said, I just attached it here so that it gives something to hold that, to make that sure that thing follows behind the front one when we move it. I doubled up two pieces of this plastic foam and put around there, found a big tie wrap and tied it down. Hopefully that will keep it from causing any more damage.